What's going on, people? Welcome back to Curtis Shaw TV. Back with another live stream, and happy Friday, people, as the weekend approaches. Another must-win game. I think every week I'm just changing the title, like Arsenal must beat and whoever we're playing. Arsenal must beat Everton. Then we've got Leverkusen. Then we've got Man City in the Carabao Cup. Whoever we're playing, we must beat them. I did say when we had 10 Premier League games left that Arsenal need to go unbeaten in the Premier League, in my opinion. I stand by that. We've got 8 league games left. I think we have to go unbeaten. Now, don't get me wrong, we possibly could lose a game and still win the league, but I actually think that going unbeaten is what needs to happen. Was it listed for an earlier time? No, 1:30. People saying I'm early. I'll take it, man. I'll take it if I am early. Big up everyone. But yeah, I think Arsenal need to go unbeaten, even if that's like 6 wins and 2 draws, or something like that. Anyway, but it's another big week. Another big week. Everton, 8th in the league at the moment, Everton, and they're actually only a point outside of Europe, which, a lot of people were saying Everton would get relegated this season inside that new stadium. And for them to make Europe would be incredible. So listen, it's going to be an interesting game. These are the games over the years that have cost us. Let's be real. I remember last season going to Arsenal against Everton because I thought, oh, this will be light work. And we drew 0-0. It was one of the most boring games that I've ever seen. Sean Dyche was the manager. I think he's a little bit more defensive than Moisey, but these are the games, people. These are the games. But listen, big up to everyone locked in. Appreciate your support as always. Obi Mikel on smoke with Arsenal. Who cares? Who cares? I'm not even going to cover what he said. I don't care. I've said this so many times. I don't care what any pundit says outside of the Arsenal community about Arsenal. We have to stay tunnel vision. At the end of the season, if we haven't won anything, and Obi Mikel says that, or Paul Scholes, or whoever, I might engage in what they're saying, but I'm not interested. Talk about Chelsea, mate. Talk about how Chelsea did against PSG the other night. We have to stay focused. Now, yeah, I will constructively criticise the manager and some of the players when they're not performing. But as for the overall situation, we all know you are not going to see much attacking, exciting football from Arsenal between now and the end of the season. You might get a handful of games. 8 Premier League games left, an FA Cup game, at least one Carabao Cup game, and at least one Champions League game. Hopefully more, obviously, if we progress to the next stage. We all know at the moment it's results over performances. Now, that doesn't mean I don't want to see a performance. I do. I want Arsenal to hit a run of form, and I want us to start scoring more goals and, look more free-flowing. But ultimately, if we get the stinkiest of 1-0 or 2-1 wins tomorrow night, it's equally important. But I do think at the back end of the season, you need some players to hit form, and that's what I want to see. But listen, yeah, John Obi Mikel, who cares? Would you take a draw tomorrow? No chance. A draw would be a disaster. Olympia said, big up Big C and the wonderful community. 22 years is a long time. Please don't F it up, Mikel and the team. You guys owe us. I hear you on that one. Pranav said 4-4-2 with Gyokeres and Kai up top might help our attack. I think you could play those two even in his current formation, because we did see when Havertz was in the team, he had a good link up with Gyokeres. So maybe he goes to that. Pep, if we drop points, it's over. I mean, on one hand, Pep's playing mind games, trying to put the pressure on us. But on the other hand, maybe it is over if they don't beat West Ham tomorrow. They play at 8 o'clock. We play at 5:30. Big up Kami said, cannot see Arsenal winning tomorrow. The attack is a disgrace. Samuel, big up to you, bro. Member for 38 months, you legend. He said, do you reckon the goals have dried up since the Marino injury? I think Marino, even though he's not he's not a top player. He's not a player that really we said we want starting. I think he's a valuable squad player, especially in tight games where you need a goal from midfield. I think he is a player. You could put him up front. You could put him in midfield. I think he's a good squad player that we are missing a little bit. I don't think we score enough goals from midfield. And I've said that for a while. And that's why I think we need to sign one or two midfielders in the summer. Oh, guys. Oh, guys. Big up to Wad, who said, are we saying under 2.5 goals? I mean, I predicted 2-0, but who knows? It could be. It depends what Moyes' mentality to the game is, you know. Does he think, well, we're playing the team top of the league, we'll go for it? Probably not. He'll probably try and frustrate us, and it is on the break. Indai, who a lot of you have said you think we should go for in the summer when we've spoken about left wingers. Obviously, he didn't play the last time we played Everton because it was AFCON. So this will be a harder game. This will be a harder game, man. I can't lie. So I don't expect it to be a free-flowing, enjoyable game of football. I think it will be scrappy. Has there been a signing we've made that fans hyped up like Gyokeres that ended up being, well, a dud, I'm assuming you're saying, Big C? Too many excuses for that fella. He's getting the Sesko and Ekitike treatment, and they're 23 years of age. Listen, I said yesterday something that I haven't said on this channel before. And I said, I'm going to hold my hands up. This guy, Gyokeres, ain't as good as I thought he was. His all-round game is a lot more limited. His general understanding and spatial awareness is not amazing. I do still think if you create a lot of chances for him, he will score goals. And I don't think we do create enough chances for him. I think when you're desperate, sometimes a basic meal looks like a 5-star restaurant, you know, and a Michelin chef has cooked it for you. If you don't eat food for the next 2 days, and I give you bread and tap water, that bread and tap water might look like a gold steak to you because you're starving. And ultimately, we were starving. We lost Dobber. We had Lacazette, Twerkazette. We had Eddie Nketiah or Eddie Murphy. We had Kai Havertz, Donkey. Any decent striker that came through the door was going to look like prime R9 in the eyes of Arsenal fans because we were absolutely desperate. And ultimately, I have said on this channel multiple times that not one striker has thrived under this manager. You might even be able to extend that now and say not one attacking player has thrived under this manager because ultimately, if we really look at it, Saka's got worse, injury related, caused by overplaying. Martinelli's got worse. Trossard's got worse. Gyokeres got worse. Lacazette, Alba, they all got worse. Sterling. People laugh at Willian. Willian had his best season the year before we bought him. So ultimately, I think this is a system problem as much as an individual player problem. Do I think that Martinelli could go to the Bundesliga where a lot of teams play on the halfway line and do well? I think he could. Could Gyokeres leave Arsenal and maybe go to another league and score goals? I think he could. Styles make fights. Systems have a big effect on players. I look at Gyokeres as a chance creation player. If you create him 3, 4, 5 chances a game, he's going to score goals. He needs a system that is built around him. We saw it the other day. He's making runs, they're not playing him the ball. And then Saliba's trying to play a through ball from defence. So there is an element of both. Gyokeres ain't as good as I thought, but we don't know how to use him. We just don't. We've got to, whatever you get, you have to do your best to get the best out of that. And I don't think Arsenal are doing the best to get more from Gyokeres. Prav said Willian went to Fulham and was good. Yeah, he was. I remember him cutting inside, scoring bangers. He scored a belter against Forest once. Gid said, I don't think any manager's saving Gyokeres, Big C. I'm being totally honest. Technically, he ain't great. Plus, he doesn't have Haaland's athleticism. The only thing I would say in his defence, right, is, and we spoke about this yesterday, he's got 1 goal less than Ekitike, and people are saying Ekitike is one of the best signings this season. So ultimately, without chance creation, He's one goal behind a striker that we're saying is fantastic and that we should have signed. Like, imagine if we were using him in a better fashion. How would he look? You know, I mean, people are starting to get onto Zubimendi now as well. People are getting onto Zubimendi. Zubimendi's in a pretty slow run of form at the moment. He's having a lot of games where he's getting overrun at times. He's catching people with challenges. He's not affecting the game as much going forward. And I've said that Zubimendi, his performance will reflect the team's performance. If we dominate possession and bop a team off the pitch, Zubimendi will look fantastic. If we don't play that well and their midfield is physical and they're direct, Zubimendi will struggle. Zubimendi will struggle. And that's what's happening at the moment. We're not in good form. Zubimendi's not in good form. When we were playing really well, Zubimendi was playing really well. Danny Boy said, Curtis, in all fairness, this team destroys the attacker's form. Yeah. But again, I think it comes from the system. Zubi should be in Rice position. Rice in Zubi. I agree with that, especially in big games. Especially in big games. I think Zubi can play in those little pockets and play the ball forward. Matthew said 100% a system issue when you see Nkapie and Timber closer to the goal than our wingers. So obvious attackers aren't platformed correctly. What, bro? 100%. Timber underlapping Saka, running into the penalty area while Saka's hugging the touchline. Nkapie bombing into the area while Martinelli's out wide. If I'm a winger, I say, brother, stay back there. Let me attack. Every now and then when you can see I'm in a 2v1 or I need a little help, join in, but I don't need you constantly running past me, taking away the space that I want to run into. I said this yesterday, Arsenal have misprofiled so many players in this team. We've got a centre-back at right-back. We've got a centre-back at left-back. We've got a 6 playing in the 8 and a creative midfielder playing in the 6. We've got a striker getting no service. We've got Saka playing right wing when he should be playing right forward. 15 yards higher up the pitch, 10 yards closer to the penalty area. There's a lot of players being misprofiled. So, again, I do commend the group because I find it incredible that we are in the situation we're in, considering how we've played in recent weeks and how some of these players are being used, you know. But the one thing that we do have is a good defence. And when you look around Europe at the moment, there aren't many good back fours, and that gives us a platform to build off. But I do think over recent weeks that even our defence has looked a little bit shaky. We've conceded soft goals, even against Mansfield we conceded, even against Portsmouth. Arsenal CSA, I think the midfield blend is wrong. Rice and Zubimendi don't play well together. It should be one or the other. I think there's certain games he should change that midfield. I think there's certain games where he can play Rice as a 6 and play with 2 attacking midfielders. If you're playing against a low block, like for example, if Everton set up shop tomorrow and just sit there and go, listen, we'll take a 0-0, I think you can go right. Play Eze and Havertz as attacking midfielders, dominate the ball and play Rice as a lone 6. You know, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, you only had one number 6. Casemiro, Busquets, Vieira, Roy Keane. You had one number 6. You know, I don't think you need 2 midfielders to always sit deep. You might need it against a better team where they're very good in midfield. But yeah, I think Eze could play in that left 8, especially against a team that low blocks. Could you turn up tomorrow and go, right, I'm going to play Rice in the 6, I'm going to put Eze left 8, and I'm going to put Havertz in the 10 behind Gyokeres, because Everton are going to sit there and just sit in and try and get a 0-0. And then I think there's certain games that you might go, right, these lot are quite physical in midfield and they're quite attacking, so we're going to put Norgard in for that extra bit of physicality. Norgard was captain of Brentford. He knows the league. He's more physical. He's going to offer Declan Rice more physicality. So I think Arteta now has to really understand what each game requires now and not just go, right, this is my best 11, I'm going to pick it regardless. I think he's got to go, right, Everton tomorrow, what is that game going to require? Then we play Leverkusen. What does that game need? Then we're playing a cup final at Wembley against City. What's that game going to require? So I think he's got to do different things in each game. Young MO said, I've been asking for Eze and Havertz in midfield with Rice for ages, but Arteta loves double DMs. Yeah, I would love to see that, especially tomorrow. I don't think Everton will attack us that much. Arsenal CS, are you dropping Saka for Nani? I think we've got to stick by Saka in these circumstances. Sometimes I think a player needs to be dropped to wake him up, right? Sometimes you have to keep playing him to say, I know it ain't going well for you right now, but we've got your back. I don't think it's impossible that you play both of them. I don't think it's necessarily Saka or Nani. I think you could play both of them. I think you could play Everton tomorrow and go, right, I'm going to put one of them on the left, whichever one we feel is better on the left. I don't know. I almost feel like Nani should be rewarded with a start tomorrow because of how he played the other day. But then do I want Saka out of the team? Maybe not. Does he need a rest? I don't know. I don't know whether he does need a rest. You know, he's injured this season as well. I don't know. I don't know if Saka is tired this season. I think he's just struggling on the back of the injury. And he's struggling to find his rhythm. I don't think it's necessarily a fatigue thing with Saka. I just think he's not in good form. It's a really tough one, that with Saka, because would the break help him? Does he need to come out for a game and just watch and regroup? Or do we have to stick by him and just keep playing him? I don't know. I don't know. It's tough, man. That is tough. Jim said I would bench Saka versus Everton. Play Saka on the left. I don't need him cutting inside. The thing is, with Saka on the right, he's been a little bit... He looks a bit greedy. He's snatching at things. I think if you put him on the left, at least he knows I've got to get down that line and just cross it in. It maybe simplifies his game a little bit. Or can Nani play on the left? I'm not sure yet. I've seen him there a couple of times. BPB, best food around the Emirates. I'm going tomorrow. I mean, it depends what food you like. But I always go to Yum Yums. It's about 5, maybe 3 or 4 minute walk from the Emirates, just past the Tollington. Lovely Jamaican food. But obviously it depends what food you want. But what I would say is don't buy food in the stadium. That's what I would say. Unless you're in club level, you might get some better food. But the food in the Emirates is dreadful. It really is. £20 for some chicken burger that you probably could make in the oven, or a slice of pizza that's like cardboard. So yeah, get food outside the stadium. That's always my advice to people. But yeah, anyway, let's get into a conversation. Again, his press conference hasn't started yet, which is interesting. So we'll see if we get some quotes during this stream. I just saw some of the quotes out of Pep Guardiola's stream, and he was basically saying that he has to change his squad for tomorrow, that they can't play the same 11 for the next 3 games this week. And obviously we've got a similar week. So I think we are going to need to rotate a little bit. So we'll see. What's your Yum Yum order? Oh, bro, I'm not like a set, I'm just going in for this. There's a few things. They do some nice jerk chicken. They do some nice curried goat. They do some nice, they do these sweet chili chicken strips. There's plenty, man. It depends what you like, man. There's some fried chicken. You know what I mean? There's whatever you like, people. Whatever you like. There's loads in there. There's loads. Couple interesting stories that I'm going to get into before we look ahead of the game tomorrow. There's a few transfer stories going around today. 3 of them, actually. I thought this one was interesting. A name we haven't really spoken about. Again, maybe I'm being a bit snobby, but this doesn't excite me. But let me know what you guys think. Arsenal are being linked with a move for Brentford left winger Kevin Schade. Is it Schade? 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 Schade, the singer. Kevin Schade, I think you pronounce it. I heard somebody say it online. to strengthen their left flank. Arsenal are joining other clubs in looking closely at the €60 million rated Schade, but other options are still being considered as upgrades on Martinelli and Trossard. I mean, he's good. He is good. All right, I'm not taking nothing away from him. He's only 24 years of age. Am I being snobby saying that I'm not excited by this? Talk to me, community. I don't know. He's a full German international now, by the way. I just don't think it's an upgrade. To me, this is like going to the phone shop and putting a new case on your phone and saying you've upgraded your phone. And actually, mate, if you take that out of the case, it's exactly the same phone that you went in with. There's a crack on the screen and you've scratched the back of it. Kevin! Yeah, man. Listen, he's decent. He's decent. I think he's definitely in a situation to get a move. 7 goals, 3 assists this season in the league. 11 goals, 2 assists last season. I think he's definitely a prospect. However, yeah, I'm with you, direct message. It's Audi shopping. I want us to go Selfridges and Harrods. You know what I mean? I said this the other day, people. I want the target to be Kvara, Vinicius Jr. That's the time. Like, we might not get those two, right? And maybe they wouldn't even work under Arteta. But we're not, like, you don't have 4 title races in a row to go, do you know what? After years of looking for a left winger, let's go and get Brentford's left winger. Like, no disrespect, man. Like, I expect this kind of signing when we were finishing 4th. Oh, Kevin Schade from Brentford. Come on, man. Come on. Now, listen, there are occasions, by the way, where the big name isn't the big signing. Let's be real. Barcelona signed Rafinha from Leeds United in a relegation battle. He's become one of the most clutch wingers in the world. So there are occasions where you sign a player from a Brentford or a Leeds or a mid-table team and they become a superstar. Look at Elise at Bayern Munich. So I'm not completely closed off to there can be top players at mid-table clubs. But I've watched this guy enough. He's a decent player. He's quick. He's got a goal in him. It's not what I'm looking for. And from what I can see from the community, he's not what you're looking for. Now, the only thing I will say, Kvara would be the number 1 signing for me. In world football, by the way, on that left-hand side, he would be the number 1. I think he fits us better than any other winger. You know, I love Leao and Vinny, but I don't think they would actually work if Arteta was the manager. Kvara is just fantastic. I've read a lot into it, and I just don't think we are going to get him. You know, there's a lot of stories saying he's very happy there. Apparently, there's big agent fees attached to him as well. Apparently, we were interested in him before he went to Napoli, so it's another one on the list that we've looked at. But I just don't know if I don't think we can get Kvara. Listen, who knows? Maybe Luis Enrique leaves in the summer and that project falls apart a little bit and some of their players want to leave, you know? But at the moment, apparently he's very, very happy there. As you saw the other day, they're still a very good team. You know, they're still one of the favourites for the Champions League. If you're at PSG, would you be desperate to go to Arsenal? I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, it's interesting. I saw today that Barcelona are basically keeping their options open as to whether they're going to sign Rashford or not, when it sort of looked clear a month ago that that deal was definitely happening. So I've seen people online saying Arsenal should go and get Rashford for 35 million. You know, you guys know I'm a Rashford fan, but even I don't think Rashford is the answer now. You know, again, I think I'm a fan of Rashford, but I'd take him as the second one. You know, imagine if we sign like Yildiz and Rashford. I'd take that as a 2. But signing Rashford as your main striker, nah, I can't have that. Can't have that. That ain't the one. Yildiz would be a good fit. And I do think we can get Yildiz, by the way. A lot of people think that contract stops you being able to get Yildiz. I don't think it does. I think that just means you've got to pay more money for him. I kind of look at Yildiz a little bit as like a more underdeveloped Kvara in a way, a little bit similar. I mean, I'm looking at Serie A. Juventus are 6th in the league at the moment. They're in a Conference League spot at the moment. They've won 1 of their last 5. You could get Yildiz out of Juventus, man. You put enough money on the table, you could get him. Cam said Arsenal need to splurge on the attack. And midfield probably need a 500 million outlay. What Arsenal need to do this summer is sell some players for good transfer fees to enable us to spend more money. That's what we need to do. You look at Liverpool last summer, they spent like 400 million, but they made over 200 million from selling Darwin Nunez and Luis Diaz and Harvey Elliott, you know, and that's what we need to do. We need to go and make 120 million, 150 million from selling players, so we can maybe have a 250, 300 million pound window. I don't think we need loads of players in the summer. I think we need top quality. We need a top left winger, need another centre mid, probably need another striker, and maybe another squad player. That attack needs freshening up. Now, if you was to sell Odegaard, Trossard, Jesus, Havertz, and Berta got busy, you can make 100 million on them, you know? Sometimes I look at our players and I think, he's not very good. We wouldn't get a lot for him. But then I see players of the same level go into clubs from other clubs and they get loads for them. Yeah, like, look, Kwanzaa went to Leverkusen for 30 million quid. 30 million. When is a Saudi club going to buy an Arsenal player, man? You know, they got all that money. They sign all these players. We ain't sold one player to Saudi yet. Would you sell the Wild Horse? I think at the right price, I would. I think I would. Too injury prone for me. I don't think he's amazing either. I'll be honest with you. To me, when you sign a fullback, I need to see how good you are defensively. The attack is a bonus. And I think Calafiori is still a little bit shaky defensively. And the injuries are a massive concern for me. He's been injured about 6 times. I think it might have even been 7 or 8 times. But yeah, I don't think he's going anyway. Yeah, no, the Saudi hype, though, they said they want 50 players this summer. So I don't think the Saudi hype has gone. They're going to go again. Big C, you still want to keep Gyokeres over Havertz. I'm not Havertz's biggest fan. At least he makes players around better and technically decent. If we get a 60 mil offer for Gyokeres, would you... if we get 60 million for Gyokeres, take it and run. I mean, I don't think anyone's going to offer 60 million for him. There wasn't that much interest in him when he was top goal scorer in Europe. So maybe they were telling us something. You know, maybe there was a reason that clubs weren't banging down the door to get Gyokeres, really. We had a pretty free run at him outside of Manchester United, and they were never going to get him with no Europe. Havertz, for me, I would sell. I know, listen, yeah, he is technically decent, but he's been at the club 3 years. He's on massive wages. He's had 2 major injuries. I think that's done. He's got 2 years left on his deal. We're now in a situation with Havertz. We've either got to sell him or extend his contract, and there's no way on earth that I would give Kai Havertz a new deal. There's just no way. I'm also looking at Gyokeres going, can you have a better second season? You know? Can you have a better second season? But yeah, I think Havertz will extend. He will. But definitely I'd get rid of Trossard. And I'd be open to Martinelli going, and Jesus definitely, and Odegaard. And I think Ben White might go as well. But I think that's more coming from him. Another transfer story, people. And big up to everyone locked in, by the way. Apparently you got the notification late. Come on, YouTube. You're doing me dirty here. We set up streams and people aren't even being notified. Work with me here, people. Big up the Twitch gang as well. Sometimes you've got to look at it like this as well. Is like, there's a lot of times where players go to clubs and it just doesn't click the first season. You turn up late in pre-season, they don't know how to use you, the system's not helpful, you're adapting to a new league, new country. Those things do play a part. Sometimes that second season, you kick into gear, you know. Okay, I know what this league requires now, I need to adapt. But that's what I'm hoping with Gyokeres, because I don't think we will sign a striker in the summer. But I would love us to go and get, you know, maybe a Julian Alvarez. Miles Lewis-Skelly's future at Arsenal next season is unclear, and he could be sold or more likely loaned out. Lewis-Skelly has told Mikel Arteta of his major frustration at lack of playing time. It is crazy, isn't it? Because 12 months ago, Lewis-Skelly's starting for England and starting for Arsenal. And Ethan Nwaneri's getting regular game time, whether that be off the bench or starting. Now he's at Marseille struggling to get off the bench. And Lewis-Skelly is, I mean, he's a forgotten man. He's gone from first choice to third choice in the space of 12 months. I don't think there's no way he's going to the World Cup unless injuries. Two things here, right? Let's be real, first of all. I do feel sorry for him because he's one of our own. He's come through the system. On the other hand, when things don't work sometimes, there needs to be adaptation, right? For me now, Miles Lewis-Skelly's chapter at left back might have finished. It might have finished. I think now he's got to be played in midfield, and we're short in midfield at the moment. We don't have many options without Marina. We've only got Norgard Rice and Zubimendi. So I would like to see him be given a chance in midfield. I know he missed the last FA Cup game. So I think with Nkapie, we found our left back now for a while. I don't think we are going to see Lewis-Skelly play at left back very often. And I almost think that was only a temporary solution with him, really. He didn't really strike me as having the enthusiasm to play there, even though he had a very good season. My thing is, and what I think needs to happen is Arteta needs to maybe... Some managers are very good at making squad players feel part of it. I don't know if you heard Gareth Bale's interview on The Overlap. Fantastic conversation that was last week, where he was saying, Ancelotti, even when he left you out of the team, you felt like you were ready to run through a brick wall because he'd talk to you, he'd make you feel part of it. Sometimes I think when you're on the bench at Arsenal, you might feel a little bit isolated, like, yo, I'm forgotten about here. Do you know what I mean? I can't get a kick. And when you look at Rice, sometimes has needed a break. Zubimendi's not in great form. Surely you can play him. Again, I agree with a lot of you, man. I hope he doesn't end up becoming an Ainsley Maitland-Niles. The thing is, Ainsley had a few chances in midfield and it didn't work. Do you know what I mean? We were all going, oh, play Ainsley in midfield. He went in midfield. He wasn't that good. And he's ended up playing at right back. So on the flip side of it, sometimes as a player, you've got to make it where you can make it. You've got to make it where you can make it. If you're a footballer and you've got an opportunity to play for a massive club, you might have to adapt. Trent was being called the new Steven Gerrard in Liverpool's youth team. Centre mid, spraying passes everywhere, brilliant shooting ability, great techers. Nathaniel Klein gets injured. They put him in the first team at right back. The rest is history. He tried to play centre mid for England a couple of tournaments ago and he looked way out of place. So the longer Lewis-Skelly doesn't play in midfield, the longer it's not going to work, because ultimately a lot of people say, yeah, but Lewis-Skelly was a centre mid. Yeah, but he was a centre mid playing youth team football. Youth team football, if you watch under 23s, it's almost non-contact. You can't touch anyone without it being a free kick. Can he actually play centre mid in the Premier League and in the Champions League? And the problem is, I don't think he'll get many opportunities to do that. Certainly not this season. Maybe the Southampton game, he'll get that chance. So I think he's going to have to be patient. I don't know whether he needs a loan or not. I don't like loaning out Lewis-Skelly. I don't like loaning out Ethan Nwaneri because they're such good players. I feel like they should be in the squad. But this season has been terrible for him because he just hasn't played enough football. To have another season like that would be very, very damaging to his career. Interestingly enough, having read this full article, the team he's being linked with is Everton. So maybe David Moyes wants a favour from his old apprentice. So we'll see. Do you know what's funny, right? Even in pre-season, when I was in Singapore, I didn't think he looked right. I don't know what it was. I just thought he don't look as sharp. He looked a bit, I don't know, he looked a bit sluggish. I was thinking, has he not had a big enough break? Or has he had a very enjoyable summer? You know what I mean? And maybe he just didn't look as sharp to me. Do you know what I mean? I feel like At the end of the day, at the end of last season, that Arsenal left-back position was his, and he's had it snatched out of his hands by Calafiori, and then it's been snatched out of his hands by Nkapie. And it is dog-eat-dog world in football, people. So I do feel sorry for him, but ultimately, this is what it is at top-level football. So I think he could end up on loan. I don't think Arteta will allow him to just sit on the bench next year, and it would be damaging. Maybe Everton would be a good move for him, man, because Moyes is good at that sort of. I don't know. He's. I feel like he'd turn him from a boy to a man. You know what I mean? There'd be some horrible, gritty defensive performances at Everton, and it might help his defensive ability. But let's see what happens with that. I still rate him as a player, by the way. I hope they don't sell him. This weekend is absolutely pivotal. Jan, honestly. Not Jan, sorry, Ian. Big up Ian, man. Sorry. I think it's pivotal. And I know every weekend we go, yo, big weekend. Yo, it's a big weekend this weekend. Nah, this is a big weekend, man. I'm telling you now. Because having the opportunity to go 10 points clear, sending them into that West Ham game is priceless. Every time we get a chance to go 10 points clear, we flop, we draw, or we lose, or whatever. And I know they'll have 2 games in hand. But West Ham away is not an easy game. West Ham have won 3 of their last 5 games. That's the same as Manchester City. West Ham are fighting for their lives. FA Cup quarter-final. Nuno, well organised. Jared Bowen, 8 o'clock kickoff. I'm telling you. I'll be singing out I'm Forever Blowing Bubbles at 8 o'clock. I'm telling you. It's going off. So, and City are on a downer. They've just been absolutely slapped by Real Madrid 3-0. And we've got to win. We've got to win. I'm telling you, man, West Ham, Football Factory, Green Street, all of that. All of that, people. He burst into midfield against Bayern and Madrid. He did. But starting at left back, arriving in midfield, I do think is a lot different from starting in midfield and constantly being in that position. You saw Zinchenko when he used to arrive in midfield. He was unreal, to be honest. But Arteta never had the faith to play him there constantly. So, massive weekend. This is the final transfer story of the day, and then we'll move on and sort of preview the game against Everton. I don't know if there's any quotes from Arteta yet. I'm not sure we will. We will have a look, people. We'll have a look. That's a good point. Lee made this point the other day as well. He was saying a lot of Arsenal's, a lot of England's attacking talent is having really poor seasons. You know, Saka, Palmer, Foden have been awful. Jude has been poor and injured. Eze's been rubbish, and Rodgers has fallen off a cliff the last 2 months. It's Harry Kane versus the world. The interesting thing is, though, sometimes that sometimes you can have an average season and go and play for your country and ball out. You know, it's the system, it's the players that you're around, the way they play. I don't know. I think a lot of these players, Foden's been dismissed. He's different. He's getting benched every game. He's not even coming on in some games. So that one's crazy. Palmer, I just think he keeps talking about this injury. I don't think he's fit. I think there's a possibility he needs surgery and they're delaying it till after the World Cup because he doesn't look fit to me, Palmer. Saka, I mean, he's recovering from surgery, which can take more than a season. Yeah, Jude's injured and not been great. Eze might not go to the World Cup. And Rodgers, yeah, recently in Aston Villa's lack of form, he's sort of dropped off a bit. Too many games and overcoached, yeah. Yeah. Too much running defensively. Silas, would you take Foden? I would. I would take Foden. He's an upgrade on Odegaard. A lot of these players, they're not system players. You don't need to coach Cole Palmer, overcoach him. You don't need, let them play. Put them high up the pitch, let them play. Let the bad players do the dirty work and let the good players ball out. But what we do nowadays, we make the good players defend too much. Everyone's got to run 10, 11, 12 kilometres. You hear the stories. Gary Neville, Ferguson told him, listen, don't make Cristiano Ronaldo drop back. Ronaldinho, these players. You can't just drop back, double up. Nah, listen, bro. I'm gonna save my energy. You go 1v1 defensively, then you give him the ball and let him cook. You know? But football's a lot different now. You got to be an athlete. I honestly think this is the generation of you don't need to be that talented to be a footballer nowadays. I really don't think you do. I think what you need is tactical understanding, because coaches and diagrams you need to understand. And also, you need to be an athlete. You need to be running 10 kilometers plus a game, and you need to be able to pass the ball sideways. A lot of times, you'd have a chance of making it. That's the modern game. That's the modern game. You know, step overs, nutmegs, flicking over people's heads, taking 2 or 3 defenders on. That is not in the game now. Coaches will take that out of the game, because they'll see that in a 14, 15, 16-year-old and they'll go, yeah, but he loses the ball too much. Do you know what I mean? That's the kind of thing they'll be doing. We live in a generation now in football, and I see it with my son in academy football. Risk is not appreciated in the game anymore. Keep the ball is what you hear coaches constant. Keep the ball. Keep it. When you're a young player and you hear a coach telling you to keep the ball, keep the ball, keep the ball, work, chase, press, they're the instructions that you constantly hear in the game nowadays. So when a player with skill gets the ball, he's afraid to use his skill and express himself, because when you're a skillful player, you play with risk. You try and nutmeg someone, there's a chance that might hit his leg and they catch you on the break. Manager's screaming at you if that happens now. So this is where the problem is in football. Coaches are not allowing players to play with risk because they want to control the narrative. So now, when you watch even Arsenal play, you can already predict what the player is going to do before he gets the ball. I can see Saka, what he's going to do when he gets the ball. I can see it already. I don't even need to watch the game to know what he's going to do. Ball's going to be rolled into him. He's going to touch it a couple times with the outside of his left foot. He's going to shimmy. He's then going to do the bigger touch inside. If he's close enough to the box, he'll try and shoot. If not, he'll try and whip the cross in. We can see so many things. We knew what Odegaard was going to do. We know it's all, they like predictable. The coach likes to know what the player is going to do. They don't like players who are going, yeah, but he's unpredictable. What's he going to do? They don't like that. And that's sad, because I think from the consumer point of view, the fans' point of view, it makes for a more boring game of football. I said it the other day, people. I couldn't wait to watch that Real Madrid-Man City game, because I know that Real Madrid team are not like that. Again, if you heard the Bale conversation, he said, yeah, Gary Neville said, what was Zidane like as a coach? You know, he's got so much aura and what a top player he was. He said, yeah, don't really coach that much. Do a bit of keep ball, bit of fitness. Have a little game at the end. That'd be it. Because Zidane was looking at Ronaldo going, what do I really need to tell him? It's Cristiano Ronaldo. What do I need to tell Bale? What do I need to tell Karim Benzema? Toni Kroos, Luka Modric? They know the game. Keep them fit. Give them a system that keeps them organised. Let them play. That's the sad thing about the modern game, but we're moving from managers to coaches. The managers are leaving the game. Conte, Mourinho, Ferguson, Wenger, Klopp. These guys are coming out of the game. They're being filtered out of the game. The game now is being dominated by coaches. Artetas, these kind of coaches, Arne Slot, Pep Guardiola. This is what it is now. This is why you look at think about back in the day. Ferguson would be sat down, chomping on some chewing gum. Just chomping like, you just see Ferguson just chomping like that, just looking at his watch. How much time they're going to add on? How much time? Fergie time. Fergie would just be sitting there. Ronaldo's just on the other side of the pitch going crazy, doing about 15 step overs. Rooney's going mad. You know what I mean? And he's just there chomping, just like, yeah, they've been on the training ground all week. I don't need to tell them nothing. Arsene Wenger would be there like, how the hell do you do this zip up on this jacket, man? You know what I mean? Now, you look at the coaches, They look like they're directing traffic. Yes, yes. Hey, hey. They're arguing with the fourth official. You're like, yo, what's going on? Is this guy a traffic warden? Imagine being a player and seeing your manager go, you're like, what are you saying? Just let me play. You know, it's crazy. It's crazy. That's the modern coach. That's the modern. So they probably just get the ball and see the coach doing it. They go, oh, just give it to him. I don't even want the ball. I don't even want the ball. I'm going to get dragged. I don't even want the ball. Yeah, landing planes, you know what I mean? Heathrow Airport. It's madness. I just realised I put that story on the screen. I didn't even talk about it. But yeah, I like those conversations. Arsenal are monitoring Newcastle fullback Tino Livramento and considering a summer bid for the England international. With his contract talks stalled, his contract expires in 2028. The 23-year-old could enter the final 2 years this summer, opening the door for potential interest. And he shares the same agent as Mikel Arteta. Give me your opinions, guys. Well, guys, Livramento, for me, I wouldn't sign him. Simply because he gets injured too much. And I don't want injury-prone players at the club. Let's have a look at his injury record. He's 23. I actually rate him. I could see why Arsenal are looking at him. If Ben White leaves, good player, can play right back, can play left back. But he's injured all the time. He's only 23. Let's have a look at this season as an example. Oh, mate. 2 knee injuries and a hamstring injury. And that's just this season. Knee injury, 9 games missed. Another knee injury, 3 games missed. And then a hamstring injury, 15 games missed. So he's missed 27 games this season alone. Yeah, he'll fit right in at Arsenal, he will. Another one we can put on the treatment table. Don't go anywhere near him. Nowhere near him. Although last season his injury record was actually not bad. The year before, 2 ankle injuries. He's done his cruciates as well in 22-23. I wouldn't go anywhere near this guy. Nowhere near him. Way too injury prone. And he'd be expensive as well. They wouldn't let him go cheap. I actually rate him, but I wouldn't do that deal. Not for 1 second would I do that deal. You'd spend half the season in the physio room. Especially the amount of running you've got to do at Arsenal. Let's have a look. We'll have a look. Big up Tony, who said, dummy by Ozil, Lacazette passed it. Oh, mate, I can see it already. See it already. I know exactly the goal. It's just, it's beautiful. Aubameyang finishes it off. It's just, But for now, winners the league or the champs, then please let's develop some entertainment. I need je ne sais quoi, people. Genuinely. I'm not a believer that you have to win playing bad football. I think you can do both. But for now, just give us the win and then entertain us next season, please. Robbie Williams settings, you know what I mean? Let me entertain you. Like, no, right now we're not entertained. Are you not entertained? No, we're not, Mikel, but just give us a title. Then I want to be entertained. Never saw anything in Havertz debate. Is it the front line that is average or the system? We play too safe, does not allow room for risks. I mean, it's interesting. I do think we have a creative issue as well. I do. I honestly think if you go into that Arsenal team now, you push Saka higher up the pitch, you get the ball early to Gyokeres, you get Eze playing with freedom. I think you got a better team, better attack. I think number 1, we don't create enough. Number 2, we don't have a world-class attacker. We don't. We don't have a world-class attacker. If I said to you now, look at all the big teams in the Champions League. Do they have a world-class player in their front 3? Barcelona have got Lamine Yamal. Rafinha's performed at a world-class level the last couple of years, whether, his numbers are insane. And Lewandowski's been world-class. He's obviously past his best now. You look at Real Madrid, Vinny's world-class, and Mbappe's world-class. You look at Bayern Munich, Kane's world-class, Elise's performing at a world-class level. Even Luis Diaz this season has been incredible. Do you know what I mean? You look at Man City, Haaland's world-class. Look at Liverpool, Salah has definitely been world-class, probably not now. We don't have a world-class player. Do you know what I mean? And I think you've got to have a player in your front line that is elite. You know what I mean? Our best players are defenders. Our best players are defenders. Who's the best player at Arsenal? Yeah, Saliba, Gabriel, Timber, or Rice. You wouldn't name an attacking player. That's the problem. So that needs to be addressed in the summer. I think Arsenal need to go and drop a big bag of money on an attacking player. Right, let's look ahead. Everton, people. Everton. I don't think this is going to be a pretty game, has it? Every player you mentioned has a system that platforms them. See, change the system, watch our players suddenly become better. Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. I don't think Arteta's press conference just started. I don't think Arteta signs players with the thought of, I'm going to change to get the best out of you. I think he very much signs you and says, this is what we've got. You need to work within that, you know, and that's where I think people struggle. Unfortunately, that's what I think. I said it on yesterday's show. If you're really looking at it, if you look at our system and you look at Gyokeres, it doesn't match. It doesn't fit. But I do think a manager has to adapt slightly and say, okay, how can I get the best out of you? I look at somebody like Jurgen Klopp, who had Aubameyang and then had Lewandowski, and then came to Liverpool and played with a false nine in Firmino, and every single striker found a way to thrive in his system, and they were totally different profile of players. So I think, well, top managers can do that. Pep's won the title with no striker. Pep's won the title with Aguero. He's won the title with Haaland. So surely managers can adapt slightly to get the best out of players, especially when you've bought them. Surely if you've bought a player for 65 million, you should be desperate to make them look good. Because if Gyokeres looks poor, that looks bad on the manager. From the fans' point of view, and from the owner's point of view, you convinced me to spend 65 million on this guy, and he ain't doing nothing. Yeah, Liverpool selling Diaz was a massive mistake. He was their best left winger, way better than Gakpo. I think there was contract issues from what I hear because of his age. FSG probably didn't want to give big money to a guy that's like 28, 29 years of age. Gakpo's younger. A lot of these clubs, they're looking at sell-on value, which is a stupid way of looking at football. Do you know what I mean? Keep the better player. It's as simple as that, but it is what it is. He told Gyokeres, I want a striker who's happy to go eight games in a row without scoring. Yeah, you ain't going to score for 8 games because you ain't going to see the ball. Do you know what I mean? The rest of the league have tightened up tactically, yeah. Yeah. And they've got money, bro. Our league's got money. West Ham are in the bottom 3. They've got players that are 50 million plus players. Jared Bowen and those guys. Paqueta. I know Paqueta's just left. Right. If Trent and Diaz stayed at Liverpool, would they have been in contention? I honestly think that Diaz, Trent, people might think I'm crazy, right? But Darwin Nunez, and obviously, God rest his soul, Diogo Jota. What's gone wrong with Liverpool, in my opinion, is they've changed half their team in one summer, and it hasn't clicked. They're too easy to play against. A friend of mine, he was a coach at Liverpool. He's now a coach at Everton, right? He knows Liverpool well. He worked around the first team. Now, a lot of people will hear me say Darwin Nunez and think, what's this guy on about? Darwin Nunez, a donkey, he can't finish. Let me tell you something. It's known up and down the Premier League, Darwin Nunez is one of the hardest strikers to play against in the Premier League for a defender. Maybe not when he gets in front of goal because he probably miss. But that guy is a pressing machine. 6 foot plus, quick, strong, aggressive, with a crazy work rate. Now, people might sit here and think, yeah, Darwin's rubbish because he can't finish, and I understand that. But trust me, Diaz, who presses like a lunatic, and Darwin, they enabled Mo Salah to do his thing on the right-hand side because Salah ain't going to press the way they played. I'm telling you now, centre-backs did not like playing against Darwin Nunez. Maybe the goalkeeper liked it because he's putting it over and wide, but that guy is a pressing machine, and it's Klopp and what he demands from players. Now you've got Gakpo, and you've got Ekitike, and you've got Salah. Those 3 can't press. They don't press properly. So you play against Liverpool now, you can get on the ball and play. Get through their front line. Look at Firmino and Salah and Mane, how they used to press. They're insane. So Liverpool have become too easy to play against from the front. And then you get to their midfield. McAllister looks like he can't run this season. Wirtz is easy to play against. You know, but listen, it's Liverpool, innit? They've got their own problems. I got to think about Arsenal, but I do think that's an issue. Oh yeah, breaking from Sammy Mockbell. Arsenal have opened talks with Declan Rice about a new contract. Approach to commence formal talks. Dialogue at an early stage. Midfielder has up to 3 years on his contract, so no rush. It's not massive breaking news. Got 2 years left on his deal with a year option, so he's effectively got like 3 years. But they do have to give him a new deal. And again, guess what? Declan Rice's new contract's going to be 300 grand a week. Why? Because Kai Havertz was on 275. Saka gets 300. Rice going to have to get 300 grand a week. And so it continues. If I speak, I'm suspended at least 6 months, people. I'm suspended at least 6 months. 300 grand a week contracts all around, people. How much is he on at the moment? Declan Rice, 240 grand a week. So yeah, 300 bags, easy. I'm not saying he doesn't deserve it, but I'm saying the wage bill is going to be a shambles. You know, I don't know. Right, let's try and pick the team tomorrow. I don't know how he's going to line up, to be honest, because I think we need to make changes. Laurie said, I'm going to be honest, Declan Rice a tad overrated. He's amazing, a leader. Please, we need to see more from him. Aside from those 2 Madrid free kicks, what else has he done? Again, I think Declan Rice is a 6, bro. If you said to me what's Decker's best qualities, I'd say winning the ball back, tackling, winning headers, driving forward with the ball, and passing the ball simple and putting in great set pieces. That's his quality, his engine. Playing him in the 8 for me, I don't know if he's a top 5 number 8 in the Premier League, to be honest. I really don't. If I'm a striker and Declan Rice is on the ball 15 yards into the opponent's half, am I thinking, oh, he's going to play a ball here that splits their back four and gets me one-on-one with a keeper? I don't think he is. I think he's a fantastic player and one of our best players at the club, by the way. But I don't think his qualities are being used in the right way. He doesn't shoot enough for me. Like, if you can take free kicks and set pieces like that, surely you can get the ball in open play and shoot. He doesn't shoot much. Festa said, I will keep Gyokeres. We hardly create chances for him. How many big chances has he missed? Haaland misses 3 and scores 1. The system is killing Gyokeres. I'd give him 1 more year. I'd give him 1 more year before I thought about moving him. Muddy said, Ronaldo only won 2 league titles in 8 years at Madrid because of coaching. Pep. Ronaldo only won 2 league titles in 8 years at Madrid because of coach. Oh, is that like Pep's defense of how he was stopping? But look, when Pep left, then man started winning, 5 Champions Leagues, Ronaldo? And I always say, people don't have to follow what Pep wants to do, you know. Tarun said, I think academy players, it's hard to judge. When we lost Hutchinson and Cozy Dewberry, we were mad, but they ain't ripping up anything. No, listen, not every youth team player is going to make it at Arsenal. Sometimes the youth team is doing its job by getting 35 million for Eddie Nketiah. The youth team's doing its job by getting 35 million for Balogun or 30 million for Smith Rowe. You know, not every youth team player is going to become a star at Arsenal. Sometimes you're going to sell them. And with this PSR, it's pure profit. Sometimes players have to go. This PSR, I think, is a massive problem in this country because what it's now doing, it's forcing clubs to sell youth team products because it's pure profit. So you look at a club like Newcastle, they were borderline for PSR 18 months ago? So they sold Elliot Anderson to Forest for 35 million. Elliot Anderson now is probably up there as Forest's best player. He's being linked with £80 million moves when really he should be in Newcastle's team. But they go, oh, we'll sell the youth team product. So Arsenal might sit there this summer and go, do you know what? We need to balance the books. We spent 265 million last summer. People have to understand we are starting this season on minus 45 million before the window even opens. We are spending 45 million on Piero Hincapié. That's before we even go and buy anybody else. We're 45 million down already. So don't be surprised if the club sit there and go, do you know what? We don't want to do this, but we might sell Ethan Nwaneri, or we might sell Lewis-Skelly because they've come through the youth system. We can nick 30, 40 million from somebody and it's pure profit. It wouldn't surprise me. I wouldn't do it. I'd be selling Odegaard. I'd be selling Trossard. I'd be selling Jesus. But it'll probably give Havertz a new deal. He'll probably keep Odegaard. And this is what happens sometimes. So PSR is a problem. It's forcing people to sell academy products. Wacko said, I'm convinced Martinelli would have lost 1v1 against a mosquito based on this season's form. Give me a break from this madness. He's difficult to watch, isn't he, Martinelli? He really is. I just can't believe with Martinelli that his game sort of intelligence hasn't improved as he's got older. You know, he was always a brilliant athlete. He's always been able to run. But I just thought, you know what? He's come from the Brazilian 4th division. He hasn't had that foundation. He's clearly going to improve playing for a club like Arsenal. And I just can't understand the way he plays. He's one of the most confusing footballers I've ever seen in my life. He really is. I said this, I used to go to the Emirates and the side of the pitch, Walcott was on that side of the pitch. And honestly, he used to drive me insane, Theo Walcott. The amount of times he chose the wrong decision and ran the ball out of play. But we used to let Theo Walcott off because he had a good goal record. So you went, wow, he's frustrating to watch, but at least he bags goals. But Martinelli, we ain't even getting the goals anymore. Although he's done all right in the Champs, but in the Prem, he's been awful. So I don't know. I think he might become a super sub at Arsenal. He just tired legs, 20 minutes, running a straight line. You know what I mean? George said, Big C, we sank that oil rig. Imagine Federico in your midfield. Oh, mate. Listen, we had this discussion on forever. I don't know what you guys think. I personally wanted Real Madrid to beat Man City. A lot of people online are saying, oh, it's not good for Arsenal. City will be out of Europe. They'll focus on the league. They'll have more time to rest. But I just think confidence, momentum, so important in football. And I think damaging their confidence and their momentum, especially this group at Man City, who I don't think are as good as previous years, I think it's a good thing that Madrid slapped them. I don't think... I think if they'd have beat Real Madrid, they turn into a steam train. Do you know what I mean? They're going into that cup final next week going, yep, slap Real Madrid, beat West Ham, see you at Wembley. I want them at Wembley going, battered by Madrid, out of Europe. West Ham have nicked a point off them and Pep's having absolute head loss. That's what you need. You don't want Man City winning games of football. You really don't. See, literally speaking so much truth, this stream, mainstream media wouldn't be able to handle so much. And this is why, honestly, bro. Yeah, they tried to go for Arteta. I'm sorry. I said, bro, you better win the league before we have them combos. This is why I've got no interest working in mainstream media. I'm honestly, people say all the time, would you want to work for Sky Sports? Listen, I've been on Sky Sports before in terms of an appearance. I wouldn't want to work for like Sky or TalkSport on a permanent basis. You can't speak what you really believe because you're compromised. You're working for a company that works with the club. They're in every press conference. So how can I say certain things and then work with a company that's working with the club? They'll go, no, he can't work. Come on. Get your channel and talk that talk, people. You know what I mean? Talk that talk. Yeah, you better apologise to us for the last 5 or 6 years. Better convinced Arteta, not the other way round. Maybe. I just want to say from a footballing point of view, that Valverde hat-trick is one of the best performances I've seen in years. Look beyond the hat-trick. Look at the all-round performance. The third goal is just... I think I've watched that goal 25 times. It's just outrageous. The ball from Diaz with the backspin. The touch from Valverde showing Mark Gahey, yeah, you're good in the Prem. hold this, flicks it round him, and then just volleys it past Donnarumma. It makes Donnarumma look like a chump. You know what I mean? Just, yeah. First goal, right foot. Second goal, left foot. Third goal, volley. I'm like, Valverde is one of them players, like, in my head, he's world class, but he doesn't look that consistent when I watch Real Madrid. But that was phenomenal. That was absolutely phenomenal. They're the things that restore my faith in football. They really do. They keep my faith that the game is still the beautiful game. It doesn't have to be ugly all the time. Gayhe's welcome to the Champions League. Exactly. Man said, bro, you think this is Crystal Palace? You know what I mean? Oh, guys. Got to say, a YouTube video yesterday was funny. You know, man, information and entertainment at any time. Valverde did have a trial at Arsenal. He did. Did you see that pass from Diaz? It's a joke. It's an absolute... Man made Cousinov sniff the ball. I said, what's going on there? Yo, crazy, man. Are the MLS stories legit? I think they are. I've heard for a little while that there's issues. I don't think we need to even know much to know that them stories are going to be legit. He can't get a kick. He ain't going to be happy. No way. Yeah, man said, Donnarumma. Yo, that is an absolute banger. Donnarumma. Why did Donnarumma come out and move his hands out the way? He was inside the area. He went, oh, better not touch that. And Valverde went, all right, mate, I'll score then. If he saves that, he probably never scores a hat-trick. You know, again, football momentum. He scores early and then goes crazy. Have you heard the rants diss? No? What is he rapping? Is he somebody rapping against him? I don't, listen, me, one thing about me, I'm a bit of an unks people, you know. Once I finish on YouTube, I'm not on social media too much. You know what I mean? It consumes you if you're on it too much. So I don't tweet much, I don't post much, you know what I mean? I could probably have a Nokia 402, to be honest, if it wasn't for keeping up to date with, you know, certain things and WhatsApp and that. I'd probably have a 402. I'd be playing snakes. You know what I mean? On the Nokia. Big C, we better get Kvaratskhelia this summer. What I say to everybody is, he's playing for a team that just won the treble. What reason do we think he would leave PSG to come to Arsenal? Unless it's his dream to play in the Prem or play for Arsenal. I think it's difficult to see a world where he leaves PSG to come to Arsenal, unless maybe the manager leaves. Every rapper wants to diss 50. 50's a troll, isn't he? He's a troll, so I think he encourages it anyway. You probably have to put 100 million down and just see what they think. But one thing about Arsenal, not often we've absolutely dragged a player out of a club. And I think you'd have to drag him out of the club. I know people say Declan Rice, but West Ham were very open to selling him if the price was right. They knew it was game over for him. Kvara would be... Berta would have to move like a menace to get a deal like that done. But maybe he can, who knows. Kvara would be a game changer for us. He really would. Right, let's go through the team. I'm probably going to get this wrong because I've got loads of ideas in my head. I don't know if they're realistic. I don't know if they're acceptable, really. And I don't really know how good Everton are going to be tomorrow. So what I will say, I thought Saliba looked shaky the other day. I'm questioning, is Saliba fully fit? 2 ankle injuries. Is he fit? Should he be playing tomorrow against Everton? I'm looking at Ben White because Timber looked exhausted at the end of the game yesterday. So part of me wants to say, okay, put Ben White in at right back. Give him a rest for the Leverkusen game. But then can we make too many changes and risk dropping points in the league? But then playing somebody who's exhausted doesn't work either. Because then if they get injured, So I'm going to take a chance, right? I'm playing Ben White. But then, again, I'm starting to think, just as I'm typing his name, again, I'm having that discussion with myself, right? I'm saying, Ndai is one of their best players. Plays on the left. And you're going to put Ben White in the team who's not fully fit. And he's going to get smoked by Ndai. I have these thoughts in my brain. No, I'm playing him. I'm playing him. We defend enough in front of him anyway. We'll cover you. Play Gabriel. You're going to have to play Saliba. That Barry guy up front's a bit of a beast. We were getting bullied by a 19-year-old the other day. I'll play Nketiah again. Because I've seen people saying Nketiah needs a break, but he didn't play at the start of the season. Would you play Mosquera over Saliba? Maybe Ben White's too risky. The more I'm thinking about it. But do I trust Mosquera 1v1 with Ndai? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe you got to play Timber, aren't you? You just got. I turned up here saying, "Listen, boys, we need to rotate. You can't play these players." I've ended up just picking the same back five. Zubimendi or Norgard? I'm playing Norgard. No, do you know what? Let's play football. Let's play football. I'm sick of it. I want to see us play football. Yeah, I'm getting loud. 2 attacking midfielders. I'm sick of stinky, boring football. Do something different. I can't keep watching Zubimendi Rice double pivot, sideward passing, Truckle brothers. To me, to you. No. Rice, sit in the 6, defend. You did it at West Ham. 2 attacking midfielders. Please create chances. Left wing. I'm not playing Trossard or Martinelli. I've had enough. Play Noni or Saka on the left. Put Gyokeres up front. Do something different. Who do we play on the left? I would actually rather play Saka on the left. Just get down the line and cross it. That team wins you the game tomorrow. You're on the front foot. They're low block. You've got 2 attacking midfielders. You're attacking with a front 5. Push your wingers high. Get them close to the striker. 2 different profiles in midfield. Eze creative. Havertz making sort of second striker runs. Leave your back 4. That beats Everton tomorrow. But guess what? Arteta won't do this. So let's be realistic. Let's be realistic. I don't think Noni will play. He'll force Martinelli. And he ain't playing Eze. And he might even drop Eze. Dragged him the other day. Havertz scored. He's singing his praises. He'll probably play this. To be honest. I reckon he might play that. Wouldn't surprise me if Noni doesn't start. I think that's the team he might play tomorrow. We'll see tomorrow how far off I am. Part of me just thinks Timber needs to come out of the team. Yeah, Gyokeres could get dropped. He could leave Eze in the 10 and put Havertz up front. Because I don't think Gyokeres has been good the last few games. I just think, having travelled to Germany and played Leverkusen, tough game, hanging on, can we then play that same sort of team? And then we've got Leverkusen Wednesday and then the final. I think we've got to make changes. What do you guys think? Thomas said, Raul Zidane, Figo, R9 with Makelele, Real Madrid 03. I can't believe R9 didn't win the champs with that team. The Real defeat will affect, their confidence. I agree, Rambit. Head loss. I think they'll draw tomorrow to West Ham. But then somebody just put in the chat that Somerville's out, so maybe not. I think they need Somerville and Bowen. No player will score 100 goals under this manager. No, it'd take you about 15 years to score 100 goals. Elton said, under this manager. Haaland does it in about 3 years. Just want to say, Elise and Diaz, big GA figures this year are just because of the weak league in Germany. Bayern won 15 in the last 20. But then I watched Elise just running rings around Atalanta the other day, beat them 6-1 with no Kane. I think they can do that to most teams in Europe. At the moment, I think Elise, Kane and Diaz is up there as the best front 3 in Europe, to be honest. Carl said, I like your 11, but I would start Calafiori and Ben White. Fair enough. I'm just not fully trusting of Calafiori at the moment. Muddy said, love that lineup. That was the lineup that I had, not this one that Arteta's probably going to pick. You know what I mean? So Elise got 41 GA and 37. He's different level. Calafiori locked him up. Yeah, group stage. We locked up PSG in the group stage. We definitely didn't lock them up last year in the knockout stage. That's where That's where it's crunch time, people. You know what I mean? That's where the pressure arrives. But listen, people, thank you very much for tuning in today. Really appreciate your support as always. And apologies that they didn't send a notification. I don't know why, but every now and then it happens, don't it? But big up to everyone. We'll read Troops is live, I think. He goes live around the same time. We'll redirect to Man Light Troops, hit him with the C Unit raid. I will be back tomorrow, 5:30 kickoff. I'll be live from 4:30 p.m. So make sure you're at 4:30. We'll catch the end of the 3 p.m. kickoffs. And then, yeah, I'll be live tomorrow, 4:30 p.m. I'll go live, 5:30 kickoff, and then Man City's on at 8 o'clock. So a big day for Arsenal tomorrow. Big up to everyone. Enjoy your Friday. Hit Troops with the raid, and I'll see you all